Welcome to lesson 10. So in this lesson we're going to go over a few things on the body. We're going to draw the back shoulder pads just here under the back here using the draw sharp to push and pull and to smooth over. And then we're going to go straight to the armpits, make them nice and round, make the armature make the muscles where they would join. I'm not too happy with the arms, might have to modify them or sculpt them a little bit closer later on. I'm going to go sculpt over the body, trying to draw in where the muscles would be for the pelvis area and just smooth that down. So here I'm just trying to find the best method in order to bring some of the muscles into play. So I'm just pushing and pulling using the draw sharp and the clay brush, just using the clay to go over and then smoothing it down. I noticed the body's a little bit too short. I will probably extend and make that better over time as we speak. So I'm just trying to get the proportion right as well. I think the bum's a bit too big, so therefore I'll probably deflate that and then just push it up a little bit to create the body more in proportion. As you can see, it takes quite some time to go over and sculpt and smooth it all down. When going over the hips, as you see here, I keep on coming back, trying to smooth them down on the body and on the legs, trying my best here to get the correct proportion and trying to get the sizes all correct. It's definitely trial and error and trying to get the nice round sphere-like looking for the butt and trying to smooth and push that in and out to make that look better. So here we go on the legs, on the knees. It's taken me quite some time to try and get these straightened up. Just trying to get the muscles in the bottom legs as well. Bottom legs, as you see there, mine are a little bit bigger than the top of the leg. It shouldn't be like that. It should be your thighs and your top of the upper leg should be bigger than your bottom calf of your leg. It's always good to have a look at some references from anatomies, the anatomy parts of the body. It definitely helps. I don't have any images to show right now. They're all on Google. There's so many you can have a look at to get the correct proportion and size when sculpting. Also, I think I mentioned it before, but when you're sculpting and you're wanting to quick select and switch between object, Alt Q, hover your cursor over the top and Alt Q, it helps a lot, as you can see. So again, going back to the stomach, trying to add in the muscles on the front of the stomach. I'm just experimenting here. I was just trying out some tools, pushing the geometry in, smoothing it out, and then using pinch to sharpen it up, and then just smoothing it down and over, just trying to change the geometry slightly. As you can see, it's can be a little bit tricky doing that. Sometimes just drawing it and smoothing it down helps a lot. As you can see, I'm there's a lot of trial and error. As you can see, it's very difficult, but the more you practice, the better you can see, and you can follow the anatomy parts quite well and have a look at many reference images to see the bottom stomach muscles when sculpting. So I'm just trying to get the belly in a right order and the stomach without making it too... I did notice it's a bit too long. Might need to shrink the body just a little bit, not too much. and I believe the bum may be a bit too lower than expected, so I will definitely be raising that. So just a quick recap, I'm just using the grab tool right now and pushing and pulling in the geometry. As you can see there, I just went to object mode and I selected the objects that I wanted to hide whilst I just done the body around. So just make sure you don't hide your objects if you are sculpting right next to the object, because it's good to see all the objects when you're sculpting around one part, so it doesn't look funny when you then unhide your objects. If you ever need to hide your objects, make sure you go to object mode and then just press the H key on your keyboard, which would hide, and then you press Alt H to unhide. It's just a quick shortcut command. So I'm always forever going back over the bum and just smoothing it down, making the proportion right. And as you can see, I'm coming back now down to the upper side of the legs. Just wanted to make the insides a bit bigger, and I felt like the legs are a little bit too far apart and the knees weren't quite sitting the way I want them. So coming back to the knees, I'm just going to edit these and make them look more like they're in line when I look at the front view of my camera. So this is now my front proportion. This is now my front view of the camera, and as you can see, just trying to get the knees to be straight. So playing with the draw brush here, that just raises and I can smooth it down. You draw and draw sharp. I don't really use the draw brush much, but it does come in handy when adding like bobbly bits to the geometry. I sometimes use the inflate just a little bit, just to pop it out and then smooth it down, or sometimes just use the grab tool to grab it out and then smooth that down. So as you might have found by now, most of the brushes you're using, like draw sharp, clay, grab, you can click and press and it does what it needs to do. You hold shift and it smooths it down, or you can hold control and it does the reverse option to whatever it is you're doing, which is like, as you can see at the top of your screen, you got the plus and the minus on the brushes, so it's a quick way of doing that. So here we are, just trying to sculpt down the legs as best as possible. It is very difficult to do legs. It took me quite some time to be happy to the way the legs look, especially the knees. Because knees, if you look at knees for so long enough, I found when you're looking at something, or you're staring at something so much, even though it looks good enough, it just still doesn't look right, if you get what I mean. And as here, I've just increased my grab brush massively and just tried to move the legs and the feet to make them more straight and narrow. I noticed also the ankles of the feet were a bit too thick, so I went over them and just shrunk the ankles down a bit. And now I'm just sculpting around the foot again, like we did earlier, and just giving it a few touches over, inflating the heel just a little bit and the ankle, and just trying to smooth down. And I was trying to draw on some of the muscles that you see on your foot. My geometry isn't high enough, which is okay at the moment, therefore I might be coming back later on to do that. So at the moment I was just sculpting down the ankles of the foot, the heel of the foot, and just trying to get that in size and proportion. Again, I wasn't too happy with the feet, so I'll definitely be coming back to them, as I do think the heel needs to be more rounded. It looks more square at the moment, so I'll definitely look into that. And the toes that are bent, I will be modifying these later on as well. Well, that's everything for this lesson so far. Just going over the body, sculpting everything down, making sure it's nice and smooth, putting in some muscles, And I hope that's everything for now, and I'll hope to catch you in the next lesson. Thank you.